for this lovely lady. Linda?
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Linda Benjiman, happy to be here today to tell you about the incredible little airplane you see in front of you, the GB R-2, and its pilot, Delmar Benjiman. He's feeling good. He says we got good air, and we got to roll on takeoff. During today's performance, Delmar took his GB through a series of maneuvers, roll, knife-edge flight, inverted half, and whatever else he may have up his sleeve. And he tells me that he has something a little different in store for us today. So we'll have to stay tuned and see what he's thinking about doing. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if your camera's ready, coming in from your right in a beautiful photo pass, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Delmar Benjiman and his 1932 GB R-2 replica.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention now to the tarmac area to your left as Eric Beard has brought Russian Thunder in, and he'll be shutting down the engine just now and opening the cockpit. He'll pop off his helmet. Ladies and gentlemen, a nice round of applause for Eric Beard and Russian Thunder.
The GBs were originally built in the 1930s by 5 gentlemen known as the Granville Brothers, which is where the name GB comes from, Granville Brothers. They were built strictly for racing and to be used for an assault on the world speed record. And now coming in from your left, ladies and gentlemen, Delmar hit this GB through a series of rolls. Here we go.
When did they build that airplane?
The original GB was built in 1932, the original R model. And there were 2 R models. There was the R1 and the R2. They both have the same airframe, but the R1 has a larger engine, a Pratt & Whitney 1340, and was used for pylon racing, whereas the R2 that you see here today has a smaller, more fuel-efficient 985 and was used for the cross-country races as well as the pylon racing. And coming in now from your right, ladies and gentlemen, Delmar got the GB down nice and low, and what's he going to do? Oh, there he goes. Delmar's favorite maneuver in the GB. He tells me the GB is actually more stable when it's flown inverted. He has much better visibility, but it's not very conducive for landing. The GB you see here is a replica. It was built to the exact specifications as the original by Delmar and Steve Wolf in Crestwell, Oregon.
Steve was by this morning.
Yeah, Steve is here. Doesn't he look great?
Yes, he does. He's lost a lot of weight.
He has. Boy, he's just a image of his former self. There were no plans available for the GB since the original plans are in the New England Air Museum, and they would not release him to anyone wanting to build a flying replica. But Delmar and Steve visited the museum, took hundreds of pictures and measurements of that GB, and then created their own plans to do the one you see here today. And as Delmar comes by in his beautiful 9-edge path, you see the very interesting truck on the back. There's a reason for that. Delmar and Steve had the opportunity to meet with Pete Miller, who was the original engineer of the GBs in the 1930s. And he still had his 1931 aeronautical engineering book, and that book shows that the least drag is a teardrop shape with a length 3 times the diameter, and the widest point is 1/3 of the way back. So there you have it.
You know, I was alive in 1932, and pretty much alive. And I remember that somebody, I think was it Doolittle, that broke the world record on that airplane?
Right. General Jimmy Doolittle broke the world speed record in 1932 at 296.8 miles an hour.
That's 300 miles.
That's really good for today, yeah. Especially back in the 1930s. Well, Delmar had the opportunity to fly his completed GB for Pete Miller, and I gotta tell you, at the age of 92, Mr. Miller had lived most of his life thinking that he created a terrible airplane. The GB was responsible for many deaths. In fact, back in the 30s, all but 2 of the pilots that flew the GB crashed or were killed in it.
But wasn't that because of the landing or something, that the controls reversed or something?
That's what we're thinking. I'll get to that a little bit later with Delmar's landing. There is a little bit of a difficult part with landing the GB. And coming in now from your left, Delmar hit the GB through a series of 4-point hits. Had all sorts of advice to give him. One of the pieces of advice was to never bank it more than 30 degrees because it would go in on you. That would be terrible. What you can see here today, he does that and much, much more.
I'll tell you one thing, and he's really after my heart, and that's Delmar never jerks the airplane around, or he's just as smooth as silk.
You're right, he does have incredible control with that airplane. You know, he still has times where he thinks about, this is a GB, and he has flown the GB for over 1,300 hours. He says that they have a really nice relationship, and he's not going to do anything to mess that relationship up. And coming in now from your right, Delmar takes the GB over into a knife, takes in a little top rudder, and I just love the sound of that engine. The GB is powered by 450 horsepower Pratt & Whitney R985. The wingspan is just 25 feet with an overall length of 17 feet 9 inches. It looks pretty small until it's your turn to wash and wax it.
How much is that fuselage's lifting surface when it's on its side?
All of it.
It is? Really?
There is actually more area on the fuselage than the wings.
Yeah.
So who says you need to have wings to fly, right?
Yeah.
And Delmar comes in now from the left, reaching speeds up to close to 280 miles an hour and getting oh so close to the ground to pull up into a beautiful barrel roll. The GB was actually designed to withstand up to 12 Gs at 450 miles an hour. You know, it's really something if you think back about 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago. There wasn't a GB to watch fly. You know, I think we're really fortunate nowadays to have this GB out here to watch. And you know, I gotta tell you,
especially with Delmar flying it. You know, we don't want anybody killed in it or any quick moves or anything like that. We want Delmar to fly that and the only person to fly it.
okay, we'll keep that going for you. But you know, it's really fun to get to share the GB. We've been doing the GBs for 9 years now, and it's really neat to take this piece of history around to share it with people. And there are a few people out there like you who remember the GBs flying back in the 30s. And it's just really special for them to see that again, and we're happy to be part of that. Fly this airplane is Delmar Benjiman. He received his pilot's license at the age of 16, but found flying to be rather boring. So he purchased a Citabria and taught himself aerobatic. Now we're getting to the point. He then started to build airplanes, built his first home-built kit special, and flew as the right wingman at He later purchased a damaged Booker Youngman, restored that in 6 months, and flew that for 3 years on the air show circuit. And then in the late 1980s, began the project of building the GB. Well, looks like Delmar is playing out here a little bit now. See what he has up his sleeve. I believe he's going to be doing a ribbon test. That sounded right.
Linda, out there on the runway, I see some folks with vests. What are they doing?
they should be getting the ribbons in place here pretty soon. They'll be lifting up poles. The ribbon is about 16 or so feet off the ground.
And Dale's going to cut that ribbon.
Delmar's going to cut that. Now, you remember what happened last year here?
No.
He went through and he cut all the red ribbons, and second time he cut all the white ribbons. Remember that?
That's very selective, yes. Yes. Yeah, but only Delmar would think of that.
But, you know, Delmar can see better out of that airplane when his nose is high and he's flying inverted
That's right.
than he can right
That's
side
correct.
up.
That is correct.
Well, I'm sure he's taken that all into consideration. I bet you'll be getting ready to come along here real soon. Spot that ribbon. The poles are going up. That should be their sign.
The streamers between the poles, those poles are 18 feet long. Therefore, those ribbons hanging about 15 feet in the air. That doesn't give Delmar a whole lot of room.
And you know, everybody here at Arlington, this is a special treat that he does only at Arlington.
That's correct.
He does not do this at all of his air shows. So you're in for a special treat today.
And the reason I know that is because his helper, Tim, brought the poles over from our hangar. They've been there all year.
That's right. Nobody uses them these
That's
days.
right.
You know, I got to thinking about that. You know, Delmar's head is the closest thing to the ground.
That's correct. That's an incentive to keep a little bit of altitude.
Right. Okay, here he comes. And he's going inverted.
And he is. He's
A little
inverted.
lower.
And he's clear back in that tail.
Lower. Let's see. Oh, Delmar. That was just
Right
his
over
practice
the
run.
top. Don't
He
let
was
the pole
just
get it.
eyeing the
He
room.
just looked the situation over, Linda.
Now, you know, we did an air show in France 4 years ago, and he did a ribbon cut there, and they used the crepe paper like streamers for
Yes.
a party, and it was kind of rainy that day, and as he flew by just to check it out, they broke because the rain had gotten them wet, and they kind of fell apart.
Oh. Okay. Well, the best laid plans have been done.
All right, look at that determination.
Check it out. All right. Yeah. He wants to do this from the right to the left. To keep the sun out of his eyes that way also.
There you go, there you go. Well, after Delmar is done with his performance today, he will be down at our booth, available to sign autographs, and Steve Wolf will also be down there, and we have some of our GB books that Delmar and Steve wrote, and they'll be down available to autograph those if anybody wants to come by and get them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go again. Down nice and low. Over.
He's got to be just a little lower than he was tonight.
And he'll work
He's
it.
getting
There we
pretty low.
go.
He's getting pretty low.
Oh, there we go. Let's hear it for Delmar Benjiman. All right. I saw it.
Boy, oh boy, folks. And like Linda said, this is the only place Delmar cuts the ribbon inverted is at Arlington. What a privilege.
And for those of you who are going to be going to Oshkosh this year, rumor has it there is going to be another GB there, the GB-Z model, which many of you may have seen in the movie The Rocketeer. Delmar had the opportunity to test flight on it a few years ago. It was built by Kevin Kimball for Jeff Iger, and he said it was really a lot of fun to fly around. Not quite as playful as the GB-R-2, but it was a lot of fun to fly. The rumor has it that it's going to be there, and it will be flown with the GB-R-2. Kermit Weeks will be flying the Z model, and the GB-R-2 will, of course, be flown by Delmar. So what an incredible photo opportunity, and you know, the first time in history that those planes will ever fly together. Well, Delmar is going to be coming around here and doing his most dangerous maneuver now. That's right, landing the GB is the most dangerous maneuver. So right about now, he's getting up a little straighter, a little more focused, and getting ready to come in here. Right now, he's at about 160 miles an hour, 140 miles an hour, reaching out with his left wheel to feel for that runway. He is flying blind right now, can't see a thing. Touching down at 120, but keeps the tail up as long as he possibly can. On his third landing, he came in to do a three-point landing, and at the high angle of attack at the slower speed, the ailerons go into a reversal. When he dialed in left aileron, he actually snapped off to the right and scuffed the aileron on the runway. Luckily, he's done a number of snap rolls, and it was pretty much a reflex that pulled him out of that. But he has landed again successfully, thank goodness. He will be coming in here, and he will be popping out of the airplane. The numbers and all the markings on the side of the airplane are the same as the original. When the Granvilles were looking for someone to paint their GB, they contacted Mr. Agnoli, who at that time was a very well-known sign painter. He painted all the Coca-Cola signs. So it's no small coincidence that the colors of the GB are cola red and airplane white.
You know, I was thinking when he made that landing, I made this remark yesterday, Gene and I would be tickled to death if we could make landings as smooth as he made that one.
That's right. That is very, very intense work, but he seems to have it all figured out. On the side of the GB is the number 7. The GB R2 raced under number 7 and the R1 under number 11. And on the right side of the airplane, under that number 7, is a little 24 square inch door, which, believe it or not, is his access in and out of the airplane. So as he comes in here, he'll do a little pirouette, spin that GB around, bouncing along there. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Delmar Benjiman and his 1932 GB R2 replica.